Welcome to the Customer Wins podcast, where business leaders discuss their secrets and techniques for helping their customers succeed and in turn grow their business.
Hi, I'm Rich Walker, the host of the Customer Wins, where I talk to business leaders about how they help their customers win and how their focus on customer experience leads to growth. Some of my past guests have included Tom Riemann of Practice Intel, Sid Yanamandra of Surge Ventures, and Daniel Yu of FinMate AI. Today is a special episode of my series on artificial intelligence, and today's guest is Cormac Murphy, CEO of CashTech Advisor Solutions. And today's episode is brought to you by Quick, the leader in enterprise forms processing. When your business relies upon processing forms, don't waste your team's valuable time manually reviewing the forms. Instead, get Quick. Using our Form Extract API, simply submit your completed forms and get back clean, context-rich data that is 99.9% accurate. Visit quickforms.com to get started. Now, before I introduce today's guest, I want to give a big thank you to Joe Moss, founder of Pro Advisor Suite and a prior guest on this show. Go check out Joe's website at proadvisorsuite.com and learn how you can become a part of an excellent RIA community with a ton of benefits. All right, I'm excited to talk to Cormac Murphy, who began his career at Charles Schwab in 2008 while earning the Chartered Financial Analyst designation and managing a $4 billion portfolio. In 2020, he joined Adams Wealth Advisor as the Chief Investment Officer and led their technology efforts. In 2023, the investment management and technology divisions of Adams were spun off into CashTech Advisor Solutions, where he currently serves as CEO. Cormac, welcome to the Customer Wins.
Hi, Rich. Thanks for having me.
I'm excited to have you today. You're doing some interesting things over there. So for those who haven't heard this podcast before, I talk with business leaders about what they're doing to help their customers win, how they built and deliver a great customer experience, and the challenges to growing their own company. Cormac, I want to understand your business a little bit better. How does your company help people?
Yeah, so CashTech Advisor Solutions is a company that focuses on independent RIAs. So these are financial advisors, not typically at the large institutions, but kind of smaller town, handful of employee shops that are directly engaged with providing their clients investment advice. And so what we strive to do, we really like the independent model, the hands-on approach that really can only be delivered through these smaller, local RIA services. But what comes with that is you do miss out on the scale that the larger firms provide, and it can make it difficult in a very competitive landscape. So from our time at Adams, where we really invested a lot into scalable technology and investment management, we started CashTech Solutions, CashTech Advisor Solutions, to really bring that scalability, that institutional quality to RAs similar to Adams, to allow them to benefit from the scale of a larger organization while maintaining that independence and kind of local feel that we think is so important in the marketplace.
So I think that's a great story. A lot of the best firms have been started inside financial firms. The idea came from that. The people came from that. You guys have actually tested it out. You made it work at Adams and chose to spin it out. So what are all the breadth of services? Is it purely like investment or is it operations? What is it?
Yeah, so it started primarily focusing on investing and trading. But what we found, is the biggest mistakes tended to occur from miscommunication between various departments. So it quickly evolved to a CRM platform, operations, tasks, all of that you would typically see. The idea being, we don't want just investors and traders, portfolio managers in one set of software, operations in another. We want everyone living in the same ecosystem, very easy to communicate back and forth and have that client data, client notes, all of that stuff very front and center for everyone involved and keep people out of their silos. So the breadth is quite large, but we've engaged with different clients in different aspects. The idea, though, we think the greatest value is unlocked when you bring that full integrated ecosystem together.
Are you replacing a CRM? Are you complementing a CRM? Because that tends to be a cornerstone or even the hub for a lot of people.
Yeah, so I think the answer is depending on the client, it can be both. I think that especially in the space we're in right now, in the small RIA space, these are not tech people. There's not a marketing department, a lot of that. So they may end up with a very robust CRM tool, but Salesforce, HubSpot, things like that, that they aren't fully utilizing. The software is just too complicated. They don't have the time to invest. So what we have is a very lightweight CRM that if you're more or less using it to keep some notes, set tasks, reminders for yourself, things like that, very basic functionality, we'd like that to live there, very easy, very accessible. Now, we do integrate, though, with more high-powered CRM systems, because if you're in digital marketing, running campaigns, things like that, that's beyond the scope of what we are doing. So we want to make sure there's that seamless interaction, though, between them, syncing the systems up and allowing your everyday users to not have to be a power user of some of the more robust CRM systems.
At Quick, we used Salesforce a long time ago. We were just too small of a team, and it was way too cumbersome for us for what our needs were at the time. And then we eventually switched over to HubSpot. And I can just imagine as an advisor, because I was an advisor, the complexity of trying to do that. We talked to a lot of customers that have that kind of complexity, and they don't have the need for it. So that's pretty cool. I'm curious about something else. This started at Adams. Why spin it out? Whose idea was it, and who championed it, saying, I want to take this to the world? You guys had something good for yourselves.
Well, yeah, we did. And we still do, right? We're still tightly connected, similar ownership groups, all of that. So, this wasn't a departure from the strategy at Adams, but Adams is a local firm. We service people in Logan, Utah, and St. George, Utah. Not big cities, not huge markets. We believe in that small town independent advisory space, where we can really have a footprint in the community. So when you go, the technology and investment management we built out, though, scales very, very well. So in some regards, it was almost not, I wouldn't go as far to say overkill, because it delivered a best in breed solution. But we thought, hey, there are plenty of markets out there that we're never going into. If you spread yourself too wide as an RIA, you lose that independence and that kind of local feel that we think is so important. So we said, hey, we can help people in similar situations like us. And we believe in the broader space, not just the way Adams does it. We believe in true independent financial advice.
Are you guys finding it different, easier, better, worse, et cetera, to serve people outside of Adams? Because, you used to serve an internal customer to keep the tech running or what have you. Now you have customers using it. Does it feel different, or have you had to change your methodologies for customer success and service?
We have, you have to be more flexible in that, as we keep saying, the thing we like is that independence. So what we really wanted to focus on was not saying, okay, this is how we did it at Adams, now we're going to jam it onto our other clients. We want to work with those clients to use that platform to greater enable their ability to deliver what makes them unique. So unlike other firms out there, our onboarding is quite in depth. We want to come in person. We want to meet you. We want to learn about the firm, because we think that ultimately we're going to tailor the solution to best have you deliver on that promise to your clients, not say, hey, this is how it's done, take it or leave it. It's a standardized app.
So does that mean that you're making it feel like an internal organization to this external customer, like you are their team?
Exactly. No, we say, one of our sort of catchphrases is, we are a partner in execution. And we really believe that. If this was just an app and you sign up and you're a nameless client, we don't want that. That's not what we're out for. We're striving for quality, in-depth client relationships, because we want to be able to help them and complement them, and even help out if things go wrong. We actually are registered as an investment advisor. We only serve other advisors. But the reason that we went through that additional regulatory burden and all of that is because if things start going really wrong, we have a greater ability to step in and help you out and solve some problems, because we know, if you're a 3-4 person shop, if things are really blowing up, it can be really, really stressful. And we want to be there, not just from a technology side, but from a people side and how we serve our clients.
Man, I like this. I don't know that I've heard this approach. I mean, I've heard of others spinning out. One of our partners is Advisor 360. Jeff Schwantz was on our show, and they came out of Commonwealth, and it was amazing. I mean, Commonwealth built, as a broker dealer, some amazing technology platform, and they realized others could benefit, so they spun it out. And of course, they had to go through the retooling and such. But you don't hear a lot of this. I don't hear a lot of this in the RIA space. and I don't mean to ask about your competitors, but is this a crowded market, or are you guys really unique in what you're doing?
I would say, it can appear to be a crowded market. There are people that are doing similar things and they're doing it well, so I would say that there are good solutions out there. I do think, though, the people aspect is what differentiates us. We had a tech service provider, and I'm sure we weren't their largest client, but we were paying, well over $100,000 a year. And as we were developing Cash Tech, we ultimately, canceled the contract and didn't get so much as a phone call. We didn't know anybody at the firm.
Oh,
I get it, guessing they make plenty of money, so maybe 100,000 isn't much, but in my world, that at least gets you a phone call. And so,
yeah.
with that, we really do strive on differentiating ourselves there. Now, from a technology standpoint, we do have a bit of the last mover advantage. So I would say I would put our tech and everything against any of our competitors, and do actually think it's superior with that last mover advantage, and the fact that it was not developed by a private equity, venture capital backed fintech project. We built this to serve RIAs. Quite frankly, one of the best things about it is that we didn't have that startup pressure to monetize quickly, get to market, get 80% of needs covered, and advertise. It's like, hey, there's a successful business that's using this. If it never amounted to anything, we were fine. Most important was make sure it is doing the absolute best job at what it's meant to do. And then we get to bring it to a market. And I think really having not focused on, what advertising is going to work best, or what features are, going to do best in a video, or commercial segment or something like that. We are just saying, like, hey, this is how we found the best way to run an RIA is, and we've built this tool with that sole purpose in mind.
I love that. So I'm going to go back to something else you started with, though, because I made this point in a presentation today, which is if you want to deliver the best customer experience, one of the things you have to think about is the service must outperform the product or features. So you're providing all these different capabilities, but your ability to have people relate to the customer, work with them one-on-one, that's how you outperform it. That's how you create the best service model and therefore get the best customer success, in my view. Are you seeing that? Are you seeing like loyalty and higher adoption and faster, conversions?
Yeah, I think that that's definitely something we've seen with our users, is that they do really like when they have an issue that somebody's stepping in and addressing it immediately. And it's a person. It's not, hey, look at this how-to video, to the point where, hey, we're going to do this for you right now. If you want to be more self-sufficient in the future, we're happy to train you up and help you through this. But there are certain clients that engage with us as, hey, I don't want to touch trading. I don't even really need to know about it. We trust your systems and all of that. Keep us in the loop. But we'll put it all in your hands. And then there are the more in the weeds advisors, but we still want to be there as a resource to bounce ideas off. And really, it's a two-way street. We love the conversations because we can learn more too. Nobody's perfect, right? And the more we learn from creative people out in the space, the better we can make the product, and the better we can serve their needs, and hopefully other people's needs that kind of see a new, interesting way of doing things.
Yeah, I love it. All right, let's talk AI. I saw on your website you have an AI called CAIT,
Yep.
CAIT.
Yeah.
So the AI within Cash Tech. That's very clever. But awesome. So what is CAIT? What are your AI capabilities?
So yeah, you picked up on the Cash Tech AI. That's nice. Also happens to be my daughter's middle name, so
Oh,
I thought it
nice.
was like too good of an overlap to pass up. So yeah, so CAIT is meant to be, it's an AI overlay. A lot of the large language model, generative AI overlay to some of the things in Cash Tech. The idea being, just as we were talking with those complicated CRMs, is that data, it can be hard to access. You can have all the best reporting tools in the world, but like, quite frankly, it's challenging to make a good, business intelligence report or something like that. And if you don't know what you're doing and know how to access that data, you'll miss out on the insights from it. So what we want to use AI for is to really simplify the access to your data. So you may have something, clients have a lot of trust documents and that you're dealing with, or LLCs, things like that. They're very, very boring to read, and they're time intensive. We're taking that, storing that in, vectorizing it, keeping it in a place to where you can interact with that in a very natural language format. Hey,
Wow.
what is John? Who are the trustees on this trust again? I'm opening another account for this LLC. I just want to make sure I have all the partner names correct. And then CAIT, has the document read and spits out that information. Everything from I'm heading into a client meeting. How has John Doe done year to date performance wise? Rather than click on this report, do this, download that, validate the data, because things can get messy when you're doing these ad hoc reports. We want it right at your fingertips. Additionally, in the AI space, where we use the generative aspects of it, is there are certain check the box routines that you have to do. And one of those that we really jumped into was an investment policy statement. This is a really important document in a client advisor relationship, but they're time consuming. And so what ends up happening is that you create these generic things. So and so is this old, they are going to invest aggressively, blah, blah, blah. And every single one looks exactly the same. And then the client, they're supposed to, it's kind of the agreement between you of how things are going to work within the investment strategy and broader advice relationship. But it's so boring, the client's never going to read it. We want to use generative AI to scalably add personalization there, make it something the client actually can read and understand, and allow you to customize documents, make it have a better personal feel, almost the opposite of moving towards the robots. Like, we're actually using the robots to allow humanity, your human element, to get back in. That way, we're really giving personalized, tailored solutions to the end clients.
No, I love this. So one of the things that I think about is I like how AI is being applied to documents. So you can query documents, ask questions of documents, because like the common thing is contracts. And if you've been in business a long
Yeah.
time, you have hundreds of contracts. They have terms, they have dates, they have renewals, they have all these different facets. And if you didn't take great care to hand enter those data points into some system, how do you know it? And so it's really cumbersome. And you're talking about that with trust statements and estate plans, et cetera, being able to surf through that data and find the relevant points. That's a great application.
Exactly. We're having the AI be the expert there, that you can then ask a question, very targeted for what you're looking for. Because sifting through those, even the pages and pages that just tell you have to pay your bill every month on the 15th. It's
Yeah.
like, that's what I cared about. I didn't care about all the legalese around it. Like, when is this due, right? Or
Yeah.
what, who are the people on this trust? How do we handle distributions? Like, typically when you're referring to these documents, it's a very quick question that you just need someone to answer for you. But if you're looking through it yourself, it's very time consuming, and just can lead to kind of simple mistakes though too, right? Because you just bore yourself to death and then overlook something.
Yeah. So can I ask how you guys did it? Did you hire an AI expert into your team? Did you bring on another company to help you build it? Because I mean, this is also new. A lot of companies are trying to figure out how should they add these capabilities into their tool set.
Yeah. So we did not hire anyone externally. We have a very strong team here, developer team, and we built it, ground up. Now it is backboned on OpenAI's platform, and that they provide very, very awesome developer friendly tools. That, really impressive what they've done.
Yeah.
So we do utilize that and kind of stand on the shoulders of giants there. But we didn't want to outsource it because we needed it to solve the problems we were looking for. We were not looking for another email generation tool. We were looking for things that were very specific to our business and our business needs. So we wanted to be in the weeds, building it out ourselves. And obviously we have the people that are capable of doing that. So we were more than happy to own that process, because it is new and you're going to have to iterate on it. And I think too many companies that maybe outsource these integrations, the technology is moving so fast that if you don't understand how it's implemented within your own system, you're going to
Mhm.
be on that hamster wheel of, like, you're either going to pay, for more and more outsourcing, and you're going to have a hard time connecting the wires and really thinking, oh, wow, that's a cool new advancement in the space. How does that fit to what we're already doing? Because we know the pipes, underneath it all.
Yeah. Are you concerned about the change in models? You know, the ChatGPT model going from 4 and it's now 4.0 or 4.5. I can't remember. But do you have any concern about that? The model changing, causing the wrong answers or the wrong type of outcomes in your system?
I think that it's certainly a concern, and especially, in a highly regulated industry, you have to be very smart at your prompting and things like that to make sure that you keep it in its range, right? So this
Yeah.
is not something for it to be useful to us. We are really focusing on that advisor client, not their end client. There's a lot of risks when you open it up there, and a very uncertain compliance environment as well. So the model's changing. In general, we've got better and better, fewer errors that come from each iteration, but we definitely do test the new models before we move on. And there are certain times where there's models that are a bit faster because they're not as complex. And so we will make sure that we're using the proper model for the use case. Overall, I think you do have to be aware of this, and it's going to be changing very, very fast. So you can't, it's not just, blindly upgrade the model, but it complements to the people working on it now. Every step forward has been, nothing but positive for us.
Yeah. So Cormac, I'm kind of curious how you guys decided to use AI, and I'm going to tell my own story real briefly here, because we launched a product earlier this year called Form Extract, which is AI driven. And when we started out on the path of let's build something with AI, to us it was a blank slate. Like we could think about and dream about any type of product or service or feature or what have you, and we were able to answer a question that our customers kept asking us, and it took some iterations to get to that point. But I want to know from your standpoint, were you guys always on this path? Did you see a problem and AI was the tool? Did you want to do AI and find a way to apply it? How did you guys approach this?
Yeah, I think that the reason it was so important to us was really what we were talking about, that access to data,
Mhm.
to expect somebody in this space to learn how to pull every report, to run analytics, do all of that. It's too much to ask for. And so what we thought is that this is a great way. At the end of the day, we could strip out all the AI features from Cash Tech, and we'd be perfectly happy as a solution. In fact, probably the bigger power users are less heavy users of the AI portions of it. It's
Mhm.
the client facing roles, people like that need that data at their fingertips. And we thought that AI was a great way to have someone interface with what is a complex platform. We didn't want it just to be a chat bot or something like that. We want to really say, like, hey, I need to know about this, this, and this. And it's going and it's building SQL queries, hitting a database, pulling those reports out for you. That's actually a fairly expensive job
Yeah,
that you'd
no
have to have
doubt.
at your firm. That in an advisor space, you have a question like that maybe once a month, every other month, and so you're either just like, whatever, it's not that important. But what we want to say is like, yeah, maybe it isn't to have this every day at your fingertips, but in those situations that it is valuable, let's make sure that you have an easy way to access your data and make powerful decisions for your business and for your clients.
Yeah, so you're talking to somebody who has built those queries. I mean, I'm a technologist, so I have built a lot of the queries for our own company to get the insights. And it is hard. It is really, really hard to do it right. And it's costly because it takes a lot of time. And then if you build it once and somebody wants the report a second time, now you've got to figure out how to publish it, make it
Yeah.
exposed in the system. These are not easy things. And it feels like your AI has created a massive shortcut for you and your users to get to what they want.
Exactly. That was the goal. And I think too, even from just a work environment, it sounds like you've built those reports. There is nothing worse than working on a report until 11 at night, midnight. You finally get it done. You go to your morning meeting, and they're like, "Wouldn't it be better if this data point actually
Oh
did
yeah.
this?" And you're like, "Dude, I was up all night. Can we just live with this?" Yeah.
There's a magic. I've been building reports since the 90s. It's actually one of my hallmarks because I'm a data person. And there's a magic to trying to get customers or users to tell you what they actually want. They'll say, I just want a report that gives me the data. Okay, what does it actually mean? Like, what data points do you need in this? Do you need to know this by a date range, a geography range? Oh, yeah, that'd be good. Well, what is it you want? And you can spend so much time defining it and still not get it right.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's, and the thing too is to be fair to the people requesting those reports is it's hard to, take, in technology, especially like scoping out a project, really clearly defining what's going to be in it it's a lot of work. And sometimes you just don't know something until you see it. So what we want to do is, rather than driving your analysts absolutely crazy, we want to say, hey, CAIT, show me, new households in this zip code that have, had contributions over the past 3 months. Oh, actually, you know what? I want these 4 zip codes. Show if they're taking distributions too. And you're iterating right there. And, as far as I know, until they become sentient, the AI is not rolling its eyes and disliking its job.
Oh man, again, really?
Yeah.
So you're having users do this? Are they giving you feedback that's turning into features, or maybe even like because you have to write the prompt as a user. Maybe you don't want to rewrite the prompt over and over again, but you want that report over and over again. How are you taking that kind of feedback?
Yeah. So the way, it's backboned is that some of the very generic, like the prompts of what you say, that the 2 sentence question gets fed into a much larger context for the prompt. So what we're doing is we're really interested to know when, and this is that why we want that deep relationship with the clients. We don't want someone to throw their hands up and say, oh, this thing's dumb, we don't want to use it. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, when it gives you a weird answer, like, we want to know, because we want to see what led it down that path, and can we do something. We don't want to train you how to better ask it questions. We want to train it. We'll learn how to better ask it questions, but we kind of need to know when it gives you a weird answer, it doesn't work. And so that collaboration has been fun. And we know there's certain areas that are a bit more experimental. That it's, hey, we we'll kind of warn you of, like, hey, in this space, be a little more careful. It may not be as consistent, but we want those pipes there. For it's improving so rapidly that we don't want to be behind the curve in developing as the models improve and get more and more accurate.
Yeah.
But we do not want to force, just like you don't want to force everyone to become, SQL pros. We don't
No.
want people to have to be command engineering pros for prompt engineering pros when it comes to these LLMs. We want to say, hey, it's our job to do that. That's the technology aspect of this. You tell us our needs. We'll see how you worded the question and figure out what we could have done to better prompt it to, speak your language.
Yeah. I'm going to be curious over time to see how prompts, how people using prompts change, and if it becomes a skill set, because like searching became a skill set. I
Yes.
believe my wife's like, she can't find anything, and she always asks me to find it. I type 3 words, I find it. I'm like, why didn't you just find it? There are these skill sets in terms of how you think. And by the way, I think the reason I'm good at search is because in college, my job was to research. I worked for an
Mhm.
institute, and I went to every library on campus manually, microfiche, paper, no internet, and searched and searched and searched to find stuff. And I learned this kind of mindset, I guess. But um, do you have any forecasts of the future of what your AI is going to become, or other things you're working towards?
Yeah, I think that some of the most interesting things that we've been experimenting with is really on the generative AI side. That if you look at chart creation, things like that, it's still a bit. We can create custom charts, things like that, data visualizations, but it's still pretty. We're spelling out exactly how we want a chart to look. We're actually just kind of telling it, hey, run this code and send it back to us. I think there's going to be really, really cool stuff that comes from if you go mess around with the Dolly model on
Mm,
Chat on OpenAI, the images and things like that it can create are absolutely amazing. We've
right.
done a lot with video creation using generative AI to create scalable, good-looking videos, and integrating that into the platform is something we'd like to do. We have a couple partners that we work with, and it's incredible how fast that space is growing. And so to me, what it's going to be now, and I think there's a lot of people that are doing a pretty good job. The strongest implementations I see from AI are kind of that they want to marry things together. So we know you're going to need to customize content. We know you're going to have to put your own spins on it, but let's get a draft in front of you, and then you focus on the editing and the fine tuning, as opposed to starting from scratch, which can even just be tough sitting down and thinking about it, right? It's, if you're staring at something, your gears start turning faster. So I think really focusing on how are you going to use that true generative aspect to start creating content at scale, and meaningful, impactful content, and freeing up, just like we did with the investment policy statements. We want to make sure that this enables better human intervention,
Hmm.
as opposed to totally takes it away.
Yeah. One of the things I'm looking for is for these generative AIs to use repetitive templates in their design of visualizations. Because if you ask it to produce a chart, it might use blue, green, red, and the next time it produces, it's orange, purple, and blue. And how do you get it to be standardized from client to client, experience to experience, or rerun this, change something, and it gives you a totally different image? So
Yeah.
I'm looking to the day when they can remember how they did it and just tweak it and just iterate on some of these designs. Maybe I'm naive. Maybe it's possible now.
Oh, it is a challenge, right? And that has to do with the way context and things like that are sent back and forth between it. Because if you do, we talked about DALL-E, which is like a incredible tool, but it's exactly what you say. Hey, I love that image. Can you just tweak this and it's a new image? Well, the
Yeah.
reason is because it can't take that image back in. It has no, it's not aware. That was the big step forward with the chat, is it is aware of that prior history. That entire chat goes back into it. It engages on what the context of the conversation is, so it feels a bit more natural. If you do look, the 4.0 model though has done a ton on the image recognition side. So I would, if you want to just have your mind blown, go watch the most recent announcement video, and you'll see they're interacting with video, having it help them with math equations that they're writing.
Wow.
And I do think that is going to be the big step forward, is taking it beyond the chat, beyond simple data extraction, and really getting into build me this chart, make it look this way, iterate on that. It's good with words on that. Even the words, for the most part, I find you can get pretty different answers if you're saying like, just tweak it a little. I
Yeah.
think it will continue to get better and better at that, especially on the image side. It's something we're very, very excited for.
Man. Cormac, I would love to keep talking about AI. I have a totally different type of question to ask you, though. I think you're somewhat unique in the sense that you spun out this company. It doesn't sound like you're trying to raise the next venture capital tranche or anything like that. What are you spending your time on as CEO? Where do you send your focus and have the most struggle and challenges, maybe?
Yeah, I think for me, my biggest challenges are, I'm a nerd at heart, so I love the coding, I love learning the new technologies, and so getting into that more sales focused roles, things like that, have been a challenge for me, in that it's just I want to dive in and be a nerd, which I think sometimes your greatest strengths are your biggest weaknesses. There, it's something why I think that leadership style will always continue to make this a very innovative platform, because I think it's cool. So with that, I think those are some of our bigger challenges. What I'm spending my time doing now is we are focused very much at getting brand awareness out there, but
Mhm.
continuing to make sure we are not pivoting to drop everything into a sales model. It's, hey, we need to keep progressing, but I do, it is time for us to spread our wings, get better brand recognition out there, and focusing on that, which is a fun challenge. I'm enjoying it, and I'm learning a lot in the process.
Yeah, given that your model is to really work closely with each customer, you're probably doing something that I learned, which is you win each customer one by one. I don't care if it's a firm with 100 users, 1,000 users, or one user, it's still a one by one sale. And every sale matters to that customer. So it should matter to you, regardless what size they are.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's another advantage I think we have over some competitors that kind of came in it from a more venture-backed fintech thought process, is
Hmm.
at the end of the day, there actually aren't that many advisors, right? And so you're going to be successful in this space by having, there's no such thing as a billion users like a Facebook or something
Yeah,
like that.
right.
100% market would be, you'd have 20, 30,000 users, excluding some of the bigger firms. So this isn't this massive space that we're going to. So those relationships, you're going to live and die on them. And each, every customer is going to be a substantial portion of your total clientele. And you need to approach it in that manner of like, not just from it's the right thing to do, but also that it will ultimately be the success of your business. Technology, people can catch up, right? I mean, it's at the end of the day, even we've seen, some of the best technologies haven't changed that much over time. It's that they just constantly got a little better for their users, were really good at at engaging, making sure people really knew how to use the tool that was out there instead of rewriting things every 2 years or something to look flashier or incorporate some flashy bell or whistle.
Yeah, yeah. Man, I'd love to keep talking to you, but we have to wrap this up. And before I ask my last question, what's the best way for people to find and connect with you?
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn. So Cormac, there's very few of us out there, Cormac. So I'm kind of easy to find that way. And then our website, cashtech.io, and that's Cash, CACHE. We're from Cache Valley, Utah, so kind of took that name from there. So and no one's ever been there. It's an absolutely beautiful place. I'd highly recommend visiting. So those are the two best ways to get a hold of me. Email, LinkedIn, or the website.
And so I suppose the mountains in your logo reflect the mountains that you're in.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's cool. So. All right, here's my last question. Who has had the biggest impact on your leadership style and how you approach your role?
Yeah, so for me, it was one of my longest term boss at Schwab, and his name's David Kastner. And I actually was able to convince him to come join the Adams team after it. So he's a bit older, so once his shares vested and all of this stuff at Schwab, I was able to convince him to come to the RIA space. But David was a guy that and it's really impacted my leadership style is bring people in, hire people that know what they're doing and that have a passion, and then support them in that and allow them that room and that ability to be creative. Don't jam someone into pigeonhole somebody, and let them flourish. And it creates a really fun work environment and you get better work product out of it. So I really strive to model myself after that leadership style.
So that speaks to me so much because I believe our job is to empower others to do their best work. And we bring people into our team and let them do their best work. And the amazing thing is when they get to do their best work, they enjoy it. So they love their job. People around them are happier. Customers are happier. And you get their best work. I mean, you can't ask for more, right?
With our team, my biggest struggle as a manager is I'll be looking at, messages going back and forth on the weekend. I'm like, hey guys, it's the weekend.
Calm down.
Go enjoy. Like everyone's so engaged and building something cool. And it's fun. It's a lot of fun. And I think that it's important to maintain that culture.
Oh, that's great, man. Congratulations. All right, I want to give a big thank you to Cormac Murphy, CEO of CashTech Advisor Solutions, for being on this episode of The Customer Wins. Go check out Cormac's website at cashtech.io. And don't forget to check out Quick at quickforms.com, where we make processing forms easier. I hope you've enjoyed this discussion. We'll click the like button, share this with someone, and subscribe to our channels for future episodes of The Customer Wins. Cormac, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Rich. It was great to be on.
Thanks for listening to the Customer Wins podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.